Hello and welcome back to the Bad Movie Reviews channel, hosted by none other than ourselves, Ben and Daniel.
Pleasure.
And we're covering, I guess, a highly anticipated film, you could say. A lot of people have been, for a fun time, it's been talked about a lot on film Twitter. Half of my family say they're excited for it and they don't see anything apart from my dad or mum, and little brother, but, that's all Marvel films. So
Yeah, right.
It's been talked about a lot, but we're reviewing Cocaine Bear, which is the latest film by Elizabeth Banks, who I actually find a great actress, and she's also directed some good movies. But for anyone who doesn't know, it's kind of a true story to the extent that it's about a bear in the 70s that inhaled cocaine. So that part of it's true.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it overdosed though, so it actually died in real life, I think, and then it's been stuffed in a shopping centre.
Interesting,
In a shopping centre. It was 80 kilos, so about my weight, and it overdosed of cocaine. But the rest of it, not true, if we put it that way.
Yeah, cool.
Which I guess everyone kind of expected. But what were your overall thoughts on the film? It's a bit of an odd one.
A little bit of an odd one. I was actually wearing the perfect shirt prior to just changing before this video. It said, "Houston, I have so many problems," and that's definitely with this movie. For me, it was exactly what I was expecting, and it was like Sharknado level kind of film, where it was like taking the piss out of itself. And I actually thought it delivered well on the fact it took the piss out of itself. Like it had this like unreal score at times that really
it was very 70s-esque, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it really complemented the ridiculousness of the film, but it still was very relevant to the era too. I don't know how I felt overall about any of the acting or anything like that, except the guy that plays the son of the bad guy.
Alden Ehrenreich, who also plays Han Solo in the Solo spin-off.
Yeah, I actually thought he was the only one that really showed some chops throughout that, but there wasn't really many opportunities to stand out in this film, and I don't think the idea with the whole film wasn't for anyone to stand out. Look, I don't know. I don't know if I enjoyed this, but I didn't not enjoy it. I wasn't like captivated. I don't know. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it wasn't terrible, I guess, because it kind of it similar with like Bodies, which I do flick back to a few times. That movie was probably great in its own right, but then there's kind of a film that I didn't like, but it aimed to do something, and this exactly did that. This film was supposed to be exactly like this. It wasn't supposed to be serious. It wasn't supposed to be like scary. It was supposed to be like dark humor, kind of like, let's make fun of this whole situation. And that's exactly what it did, and it delivered on that. But they're kind of my total thoughts on this film.
I think it delivered on it. I don't think it succeeded in
No,
my opinion. So I guess I'll touch on it a little bit. You called back to Bodies, and I know we had very differentiating opinions on that, because I know you said, similar to what you're saying now, that it did exactly what it needed to do, but you didn't really like it other than that. I thought that succeeded in like actually taking the piss out of millennials, like social media, all that stuff. Whereas this film, as we've kind of stated before, it's loosely based on a true story. Like you have the situation where the bear obviously inhales all this cocaine, which is a nuts story to begin with. And that's the only bit that's true. So you can kind of go anywhere you want with it from that perspective. And it was only about an hour and a half. It's quite a short film, but really like the best bits were with the bear. And it really could have played on that a lot more. Like could have made it a lot funnier. Like there were certain moments where I did laugh, but it was kind of a weird film. There wasn't Rennie. There wasn't many comedic moments for me.
No.
Like there were a few, a couple laughs I can remember, but in terms of everything else, I think it really should have played on like the gore aspect. Like that kind of worked well at times. But then I also thought the CG for the bear really, like it was kind of a bit average.
Yeah.
Like it looked really fake. Like it wasn't like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Like, and I guess that's kind of playing on
still
the fact
better than
that
Beast.
Yeah, correct. But this had a lot more money, I presume, attached to it. In terms of the acting side of things, I actually agree with you to some extent, but I actually thought the casting in this film, like all the actors are really, really like good actors. Not necessarily in this film, but Alden Ehrenreich, which we touched on, I think is a criminally underrated actor, and he was very good in this.
Yep.
Kerry Russell also, who plays Sari, the mother of the kid who goes missing, I thought was really quite good. And she's also in, funnily enough, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. She plays the wife of the family in the second in Dawn. Yeah. But I thought like everyone was fine in this. And you've got Ray Liotta, who this is sadly his last film as before he passed away. So this will be the last film we get to see of him. But I actually think regarding the performances, they were all okay, but they didn't, like, all their characters were really shit. Like, none of the characters, and that's the thing is, like, this film is obviously loosely based on a true story. You create these characters up from scratch, right? Like, all you have to go off is the bear and the fact that they dropped the cocaine over this jungle. So all the characters are made up from scratch. None of them are really that likable or memorable whatsoever.
I agree completely.
So it was kind of a weird one, and I actually thought where it really faltered is the story. I thought the story was really not great.
Oh, it was
and that's where I'm saying you really could have played on it and made it a lot funnier, a lot more gory, and play on that aspect. And looking up on it, Jimmy Warden wrote the film, who is known really for nothing. He's written a film called The Babysitter Killer Queen, which looked like it was a straight to Netflix movie, and that's the only other film he's written.
Yeah, okay.
Because the script, like the actual story is bad, but the script, it has some of the worst writing that I can remember. Like there's certain dialogue used which just make absolutely zero sense, and it's kind of brought up, and then it completely, like at the start of the film, there's dialogue and kind of things placed there, but then they just kind of completely, like, dialogue said, and then the characters just go, and then just like, it was just a bit odd, really.
I agree.
So I can't necessarily recommend it off that. Like, it's a good, like, don't get me wrong, like, it was entertaining to some aspects. But I also thought, like, direction-wise as well, it was a bit, like, there wasn't anything special about the direction. It was just a very much, like, middle-of-the-tier budget kind of action comedy. But it didn't really deliver on any of them. Like, the action, there wasn't much, and then the comedy, there wasn't much. And when it did try and go for that, I didn't really find it that funny. But there might be other people who think so, but I can't really recommend it.
It was kind of like dumb funny, like you're laughing at how bad something was. As in, like, it wasn't inherently because it was a funny situation. Like it was embarrassingly but funny.
Yeah, but the thing is, what annoys me about that is it's not like, as you said, Sharknado, where you know it's just really, really shit, so it's funny. Whereas this is actually, like, it's got money attached to it, good actors, like.
See, I still felt like this had a similar thing where it was just trying to take the piss out of itself. That's where
I don't think it was trying to take the piss out of it. Like, that's where I'm saying, like, bodies. It's clearly got a story there to try and take the piss out of it.
Not
like,
a fair comparison. Not a fair comparison.
This is like it's not taking the piss out of itself. It knows what it is. Like, it knows it's a funny, far-fetched movie.
Yeah,
it's just not very good at it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree.
If that makes more sense from my perspective, I get where you're coming from, but. Look, I can't necessarily recommend it, but.
Definitely won't. Yep.
I'm sure it's enjoyable to some people out there who are just looking for a good time. It's also got a very weird scene with cocaine and genuine 10-year-olds, and I thought this is very odd.
Yeah, that was a bit on the nose, that one, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get into too many spoiler territories, but if you have seen it, comment below. Let us know what you think. Other than that, have you got anything you want to touch on?
Nah, not much extra to touch on with this.
No? We'll bump it down a few ticks.
Yeah.
Yeah? You'll get a couple verses, not any more lines. So,
Jesus.
Sorry, I just had to put a couple puns in there. But other than that, comment below. Let us know what you think. Other than that, for the fourth time, we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching, guys.